Welcome to the Izzy Chinche Show.
I don't know how it happened. I don't know if it has something to do with the journaling since we are very young. We all enjoy writing and like writing poems. And every now and
Yeah.
then, and I have seven siblings, so I'm one of eight. And every now and then one of our siblings will just drop like a poem that they've written into.
I'm so excited you're able to tune in. Join me as I interview athletes, entrepreneurs, and high achievers. I also share much about my life struggles, trials, and successes in hopes to inspire you. I intend for this show to be one of the greatest shows of all time, so your listening and support means the most to me. My goal is to help inspire as many people as possible, so please share with a friend if you enjoy just one thing from today's episode. Together, we can help more people grow. Let's get started. Okay, Rachel, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you on.
Yes, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes. I want to hear a little bit about your life coaching and how you got into life coaching and what's kept you in life coaching.
Okay, so for me personally, I actually have always been an entrepreneur. I love working for myself and just building those different those blocks in life. And each season has done amazing things for me. However, this was an area that I really wanted to look further into, and that was the coaching. And my good friend actually has been a coach for 10 years, and she would walk me through these things over the past years, and I'm like, gosh, like that's so incredible, just what she could offer and the value that she could give. And so I actually got into the high performance coaching with Brendan, and really started to see that this specific type of coaching was based around life, relationships, business, and health, and all of those things that just encompass one another. And the biggest thing for me was I am a hard worker, and I work and work and work. However, I also struggled with balance, and having that balance in with my kids, my husband. And it was like I almost felt like I had to work, and then everything else would fall to the wayside. And really coming into this coaching and really understanding what my part is, and then also how I can share that with others. That was such a huge transformation for me, and how then I started to grow my business, and then how I could also help others create that balance as well.
I love that. Okay, so entrepreneurship, I'm like, I didn't even know if that was the full other side of everything that you did. So as soon as I hear that, my ears are like, ding, I love that. Okay, so how long have you been in that space and working for yourself and everything?
Okay, so I actually graduated high school with my diploma at 16.
Okay.
And so my dad owned his own business, and I just kind of followed in those footsteps. And I actually started as a permanent makeup artist. So I tattooed permanent makeup. And I did that for 13 years. And I had my own business. I did my own marketing. I mean, I showed up, and I absolutely loved it. However, we went through a season where we were currently in California, and we moved to Hawaii. And I could not take that business with me to Hawaii because my son at the time was 3, and it wasn't going to work. And so I went, and I was my stay-at-home mom, and it was wonderful. But once you're an entrepreneur, you always have that itch to create, right? And
Yes.
yeah, and so I was ready. Living back in Hawaii, I was like, I really want to I want just my own income to give back. I wanted to contribute as well. And so I actually got into affiliate marketing. I've been doing that for 8.5 years. So leading a team and growing and working with others has always been a passion of mine. And so I had been doing that, but then that's when I started creating this shift towards the coaching, and really realized, with all of these skills and these tools that you have as an entrepreneur, coaching creates a whole new aspect of that. And so this is kind of like my new season that I'm in. I don't do the permanent makeup anymore. I loved it. It was the creative side of me. Now my creativity is in different ways, but yeah, I just love being my own boss.
Oh, I love that. That resonates. Yes, absolutely. And I saw you also have products, correct? You have products that you sell or that
Yes.
you have made that are journals and things like that.
Yeah, so when I got into the coaching, I really, for me personally, I was never into writing things down. I just always used my phone. And then I realized I have to write stuff down in order to get organized and to really plan out my day and be very intentional. It's very different than having a scheduler or a schedule book where you can just go on and it tells you what time to show up. I mean, when you aren't coaching, but you have to, and you can probably relate to this, when you have to sit down at your desk and be intentional with your time, when there are no bookings or appointments and it's just creating or building something out, I really needed that structure of time and time blocking. And
Yeah.
so I created a um a productivity planner that was specific to my life goals, my business goals, and then also my daily. And in doing that and coming into this just planning and writing things out, I also realized so many people that I work with, adults, don't realize a lot of things such as who they are and just really finding their true authentic self. And so the coaching for adults actually transitioned me into a place of also doing journals for kids.
Wow.
And my kids are 5 and 13. And just creating that space of number one, gratitude, being huge, huge. Statistically, it's huge for success, and just life in general. And so not only was I like, man, do I want to set adults up for productivity and creating all these things, but I also want to instill this into my kids to have them create this structure so early on and be successful, not just in academics, but really in knowing our true authentic self and what that looks like. So that's
I love that.
all the things.
I absolutely love that. I feel very lucky. I was into journaling since I was very young. Like I have probably 10 completely filled out journals. And I'm 24, so I feel like that's over a good time horizon
Yeah.
there. But I feel very grateful that that's something that I have done, and I didn't even think about prompting kids because now it's not even. There's so many people who don't journal, and it's so good to get it out, but especially for kids, I think that's huge. And I know that now I'll run into people and they're like, man, I really wish I journaled. I wish I journaled when I was 13 years old and it was my
Yes.
birthday and whatever. So I absolutely love that. And people can just find that on a link on your Instagram. Is that correct?
Yes. Uh-huh.
I
Yeah, that
love
is there. And it's just knowing, if people knew, and I would urge anybody to go look at the statistics of what journaling does, for our health, for our work, for income, for all of these different things. If people understood, I really believe that they would make it a point, 3 to 5 minutes, and it can just be so basic, but that in itself can create such a massive shift for people. It's unbelievable.
it.
It's unbelievable. And so the fact that you did it at 20 and doing it at 24, I mean, it's the success rate is through the roof because only 8% of people actually journal.
Oh
8.
wow, I didn't realize it was that.
8%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
I'm wondering
crazy.
if it's more common in women than it is in men as well. I think that,
It is. It is. However, Harvard actually did a study, and they found out that men that did the gratitude journaling 3 to 5 minutes a day, they had a greater return. I feel like that's also like men with weight loss.
Yeah, exactly. They just kind of do it, make it.
Exactly. It's like, oh, great, you lost 10 pounds. Good for
I
you. I am
love
still
that.
at 2.
I love that. Those will be good Christmas books, Christmas gifts.
Yes,
Looking at
yes,
it.
yes.
My
Thank you.
older brother, he also always journaled since he was really, really young. And most of my siblings did. And now it's very interesting to see. I don't know how it happened. I don't know if it has something to do with the journaling since we are very young. We all enjoy writing and like writing poems. And every now and
Yeah.
then, like, and I have 7 siblings, so I'm one of 8. And every now and then one of our siblings will just drop like a poem that they've written into the chat. And the other day, my younger brother, he's 18, but he dropped this poem and he was like, Izzy, do you want to hear this poem that I wrote? And I was just like, this is like, I'm gonna cry, like it's so good. Yeah.
No, it's really, really impactful. And it stems creativity, and it's just so good. And like you said, just getting it out there. So not just talking about the gratitude aspect of I'm thankful for XYZ, but really regulating, which I wanted to make sure, like with the children, of this is I'm happy today or I'm sad today and why.
Yeah.
Because just simply, well, I slept bad, or my mom didn't let me have this toy. Getting that out on paper, and it's the pen to paper. There is this filter in the brain where it keeps what we need and then filters out what we don't need. So like just the noise, if you will, it filters that out. So it's actually created in our brain when we do the pen to paper, how just important it is. And so I think that's fabulous that you guys do that. Incredible, incredible.
Well, I'm getting inspired that you're saying that because in these last couple of days, I came down with a little bit of a sickness and everything, and I was kind of just like feeling in a funk, and that's why this morning I was like, I need to journal, I need to do those things for myself, and just being able to look at the actual facts. Like, okay, why am I feeling this way? Okay, I was actually sick. I'm not just not feeling great for no
Right.
reason. I actually came down with something, like I had a cold, like I wasn't feeling well, and being able to actually put it behind. I was talking to my fiance about that, and he was saying how he was just not feeling good. I was like on a Sunday afternoon, and he was just like, oh, I was on my phone too much. And he's like, as soon as I was able to identify this is
Yes.
why, and it's like,
Yep.
okay. And then you just go write about it. And it's like, okay, I'm a new person. I'm ready to go about my life now.
Right. It's so true.
Yes.
And the great thing is, because my parents had even asked me, they're like, well, Rachel, like, is someone supposed to like come back and then like for the kids, is someone supposed to come back and like read or like see what was, put on paper? And I was like, no, it's simply just the act of getting it out and writing it down. If you never looked at it ever again, it's still okay. It's just the whole art of, like you said, putting it down, seeing it for what it is, and then it's discarded. And then you can move on. So
Yeah.
it's amazing how our body works with something so simple as that,
So
right?
simple. And I wonder about, I'm getting inspired. I'm going to look into some more of, like you were saying, the statistics and stuff on that.
Oh, they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll love it.
I remember being a kid, and now I go back and try and read that, and like I'm not even sure what I was saying because I just couldn't even like spell, but I was still trying to like write out what I was feeling.
Yeah.
But I never wanted anyone to read my journal, and I would hide my journal under my mattress because I was like,
Uh-huh.
no one can ever see
You're like,
my
this is mine.
this is mine. Yeah, this is my
Right.
information.
No, that's
I love that
awesome.
though.
That
And
is awesome.
everyone listening can go look at that for some Christmas gifts. I feel like that would be,
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's good
yeah,
stuff. Good stuff.
yeah. Okay, I want to transition a little bit, just going off that video that you posted on not waiting for applause, right? To
Yep.
jump into what you want to go after. And I'm sure as an entrepreneur and someone who started your own things, like you just have to jump in when no one is gonna even understand half the time what it is that you're doing, and you have to jump anyways. And I just want to hear your take on that because it really inspired me. I loved what you were saying. So if you want to talk about
Yeah, it's being an entrepreneur is hard. It's hard because it's not the norm. The norm is to go to college, get your degree, and then go and work a 9 to 5. That's what's considered normal. And so then when you step into being an entrepreneur, you're really the one that decides if I'm going to wake up today, am I going to work my business? And one of the things that I have realized in just being in this business of being my own boss, that there are a lot of people that don't get it. And but what I also realized was a lot of people don't have to get it. And when we come into a place of always trying to have to explain ourselves or give people reasons of why we're doing what we're doing, the reason why that they don't understand this as much is because it's not their vision, it's not their dream, it's not their goal. That is not created within them. Not everybody is an entrepreneur, and that's okay. But those that are, you almost have to just pave this way. And I started reading this book, and this is essentially what the video was on. Was this guy was talking about how he was listening to one of his mentors, and his mentor was up on stage, and he was talking about leading the way, and don't lead the way, don't go first, don't be the first person to go out and create this. Let other people do it, let other people pave the way, because then if it completely fails, it's on them, it's not on you. However, when he was listening to this mentor of his on stage, he was like, none of that resonates with me.
yeah,
He's like,
yeah, you say
I
I'm like, what? Yeah.
exactly, right? Why would I wait for someone else to do it? Like,
Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll jump in. And
Yeah.
so that's where he actually then got up on stage, and he said, I've this man has been such an incredible mentor for me. And however, this gave me this huge realization that I pave the way, and I'm the one that will take that first step and that will fail and fail forward, as they say, and I will take those chances. And the biggest thing is, again, going back to people, you are either going to not fulfill your dreams and you're not going to go after your passions and just what your vision is because you are afraid of what others might think. But the reality is, at the end of the day, those people are not thinking about your dreams, your vision, your passion. They're thinking about them. And so it's like you can either create this space of I am going to live off the opinions of others or for others and what they have and the box that they have confined me to, or I am going to choose to go in the opposite way, and I'm not going to wait for the applause of other people. I'm not going to wait for people to tell me, you got this, you can go, you're doing great things, and just go and just do it. I get it's hard to believe in yourself, but the biggest thing that I have found in my journey is I have one good friend that, I mean, I have many good friends, but I have one in particular where she is like my stepping stone. I can go to her and she'll say, "Here, Rachel, step on this. I'm going to help lift you up." She believes in me. I don't need the applause from all these other people. I don't need the validation from anyone else. And I don't need people to understand what my vision is and what I'm trying to achieve, because that's in here. Like that's my passion, my goal, my desire, not theirs. And so when I read that, I was like, we have to ask ourselves, do we limit ourselves and not proceed forward with our goals, dreams, aspirations, whatever those are, because of the opinions of others or what others, confine us to? Or is it because we're just afraid and we don't know how to move forward? So
Yeah.
that's where you have to really, find that balance. And so, like I said, I get it. It's hard, but it's so worth it.
That's so good. I love that you're saying this because I realize it's just even in the soccer coaching, because I have a soccer coaching business, and even
Uh-huh.
within that space, there are so many kids who are worried. And yesterday I was coaching this little girl, and I told her, and she was in that little, she's 13, but she's talking about all her friends in middle school and the tryouts and everything. And I told her, I said, their opinions of you are none of your business. What they think of you is not your business. And she's sitting there trying to understand that. She's like, I don't, but it's about me. I said, it's not your business though. What,
Right.
and I said, whether it's good or bad, whether it's good or bad, because I think there's this dangerous line where, okay, we won't put weight into the bad things that people say, but we put too much weight into the good, right? So you're like, oh, they think that was good that I did that. I'm like, that doesn't matter. Do you think it was good? Do you
Right.
enjoy that? Did that inspire you? Or, and I think there's that
Yeah.
balance. Like we will cross over and be like, hit that bridge of like, okay, now I don't really care about the negative that people say about me. But now I'm on the other side where I'm like, I'm just constantly wanting to hear the good that they say about me. And it's like, I need that.
Right.
And that's a really dangerous game. You have to be able to be like, no, actually, good or bad, it doesn't really matter because I know who I
Exactly.
am and I'm focused on my path. But I love that you're saying that, because I think that's something that more people need to hear, because we get so caught up in the opinions of others, and you hear it like people say, well, oh, what will other people think? That was such
Right.
a thing to say. It's like, what does that matter? What they think? I'm
Exactly.
doing why is that even in here? But
No, it's true.
yeah.
It is. And one of the things I like to give the example to people as, what is the lens that those people are actually looking through? And so I can use an example of like, my mom. I use my mom as my example of her growing up in her life was very, very, very different from me. She came from a broken home. And so her perception of things are very different than, say, what it was for me. Now, my mom's view of things in life is from a very broken lens. And when she looks at things from what she experienced in her life, going all the way back to when she was a little girl. And so I always try to say to people, opinions, good or bad, just like you were saying, good or bad, what is the lens that these people are looking through? Because it's not always, it's not always crystal clear. They could be having a really bad day. They could have, like the little girl in your case, the people that had not nice things to say, they could have been, their parents could have grounded them,
Yeah.
or they could have been in trouble for something, or they were just having a rough day. And so their perception and their opinion at that moment in time for her had nothing, like you said, to do with her. It was strictly the lens that that child was looking through. And that goes in our adult world of when we want to pursue our dreams and goals. And I had one gal tell me, because I started into this direction, she goes, well, I feel like this is just a big distraction for you. And I'm like, really? And like, how can you on the other side tell me what my distractions are? How do you know this isn't my true calling and what I'm supposed to be doing with my life?
Yeah.
And so, but when we look at her from a outsider's perspective, I go, she's not a very confident person. She doesn't take risks. she confines herself to that box. Therefore, her lens that she looks through is a lens of what everybody else should be doing, is her insecurities. And that's where we really have to look at, is this through the lens of someone that is really for us, or is this through the lens of someone who is afraid, basically?
Yeah.
So, and that is a huge determining factor of someone's perception of what you're doing, good or bad, like you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah. And just piggybacking off of that, this is something I talked to one of my entrepreneur friends. She's a good friend in the similar space as us. And I told her, she was talking about stuff going on with her family and how it was kind of tough. And I said, what you have to realize is your family doesn't truly, for the most part, want what's actually best for you. They want what's safe for you, so they don't
Yes.
have to worry about you. And that's
Yes.
and that's just the case. And it's not a bad thing, but it's the truth. Your
Yes.
family would rather you play the safe and stable route so they don't have to worry about you. Like they want you to just be safe and I was like, and you have to remember that it's not coming from a bad place. They want you
Right.
safe, but they don't want you to go after your biggest, most ambitious dreams and goals because that's scary. And then you might fail and then they might have to help pick you up. And then, it's a cycle, but
Exactly.
realizing that it's their own lens. And I love that
Yep.
you said that. I think,
Yep. You're totally spot on. It's so true. And people, it's that box, and people want to keep us confined to the safety box. And that's where that is that defining moment of, do I do this regardless of success or fail? I mean, it's inevitable.
yeah,
Fail is 100% going to happen. Always.
yes.
It's just at what point. And I also like to look at any type of failure as essentially a closed door of something greater that's out there.
Yeah.
If this didn't work out, well, it's because I had to take your distraction off of this and to point you into a completely different direction, because we don't know that.
Yeah.
We think, oh, I really want this. And it's like, nah, you may, but I have something like even better for you. And
Yes.
so, and that's one of those things where we have to make that decision where we want to go, and
Yeah.
uh,
I love it.
the
That reminds
world
me of
of
that.
entrepreneur.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. The roller coaster. It reminds me
It
of that
is.
picture. Have you? I don't know if you've ever seen that picture. I think it's Jesus, and he's asking the little girl to like give up
Yes.
her teddy bear, and he has like the
The
biggest
bear
one
behind.
behind
It's
his back.
true.
Like that is so spot on because
It's so true. It really is. Because, and we think about that, like really and truly, for those, of us that are believers. I mean, if you knew that something was 10 times greater out there and far, far better than your greatest expectation, would you be willing to go through this hard period of time or this fail in order to then get to that greater success? I mean, in the moment we're like, oh, I really wish like it'd be
yeah,
kind of nice.
yeah,
But that's where, ultimately they talk about, even in this book, Think and Grow Rich. The greatest piece is of all things is having faith. Whether you believe or not, having faith is the ultimate of having faith in where you're wanting to go and what that goal looks like. And you have to stay that course, regardless of the hard times or the high times, and navigating those. And I think that's why it's so important to constantly be reading books and on mindset and really getting control of that. Because even this one, he's a multimillionaire, he was talking about how often should you read personal development books, and he said one every week. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
maybe if you don't have kids.
yeah,
But really the biggest thing is our mindset,
yeah.
and where that takes us.
Yeah, no, I love it. I was even talking to my brother about this morning. We were on a phone call and he was like, "How are you doing?" I was like, "I'm doing good." I was like, "I know I'm doing well." I said, "I think I'm coming out of a little bit of a funk," but I was like, "But that's when I go back to the facts. I revert to the facts and just like looking at it in a different lens and being like, when I look at everything is going well. I'm just in a little bit of a funk. So it means I need to dial in on those other things. Like I need to go outside. I need to be away from my phone. I need to be journaling. Like all those things are going to help
Yeah.
me. But going back to the facts, and I think that's in alignment with what you're saying is like, what's the lens that they're looking at? Like, what's the actual
Yeah.
facts here? What's the actual truth here? They have no idea what
Right.
I'm doing. They don't know me. They don't know this entire vision of everything. What are the facts? The facts are I have a dream. I believe in my dream. I believe this is part of my purpose and I'm going for it. Like period.
Exactly.
we're going.
Yep. Exactly. And a lot of people, unfortunately, when they step into that living for others and not pursuing their dreams, they have no passion and purpose behind what they do. It's just, I'm just living the day in and day out, because I can tell you, ever since I started getting into the coaching and doing the journaling and just like the journals for kids, I want to share this just really quick, because
Yeah.
I think it's so important that we we look at the little things and we see how much of an impact we're really making, even if it seems so, so small. Because my whole goal is I'm not out to change everybody's life. I'm not out to change every child's life. However, I am going to take the steps forward in changing one child's life at a time. And do you know who Natalie Ellis is?
Oh yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I had gone to, wait, did you go to Coaching Summit?
Yes. That's how I met.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Okay,
Yeah.
that was phenomenal. So when she was talking about Career Day, so I'll just preface it on here so everyone has an idea, but she was a 12-year-old girl and she came from an extremely, extremely broken home. And it was Career Day at her school, and there was a woman that walked in, and this entrepreneur set her purse down, and she even had a picture of the purse up on the screen. And she's like, this is what the purse looked like. And she said it was at that point she perked up, because she was like, whatever that woman does, I want that purse.
Yeah.
And so it was in that moment that this 12-year-old, just her life was completely altered and changed.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so I left that coaching summit. I came back home, and a couple of weeks later, I had received an email. It was an email blast from my child's school talking about Career Day. And I thought, oh my gosh, my son he would probably just like die. He would be like, no, mom. But it was actually like the complete opposite. And he's like, are you going to do this? And I said, yeah, I was kind of thinking about it. And he's like, let's go. That's amazing. Oh my gosh, you've got to do it, mom. And so I was like, okay, like that's kind of cool. And so I went there, and I had the largest groups of the three kids. They actually put me in the library instead of the classrooms. And I told each group the story of Natalie Ellis and how she was a 12-year-old girl at Career Day, and it absolutely changed her life. And I told them, I said, you guys are 12 and 13 in here. However, there's going to be just one person in this room that is impacted by what I'm saying. It's not going to be for all of you, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be for all of you. And I kid you not, I finished it. It was absolutely amazing. And my whole goal was just to impact one child. Like that's all. I was just like, I just want to go there. I just want to share what I do and share what's possible outside of the norm.
Yeah.
And I received a letter from a child, just one letter from this 13-year-old girl. Oh my gosh, like I literally wanted to cry.
Yeah.
And she wrote out and was like, thank you so much for coming and sharing. She says um that she believed in herself, and looked at herself in a whole new way, and that I inspired her, and to reach her goals, and so on and so forth. It's on my social media, but it was the most amazing thing that I have ever received. And it was so simple, yet it was such an impact of one person. And even like you talking to, about the 13-year-old and the soccer, it's just one person. And so whatever we do, all of our passion, all of our purpose, all of our desires, like, don't mind the applause of the other outsiders and the people that don't understand your vision, because I like going to this school, speaking about just how I impact people, how I help people with clarity in their vision in these journals. It was enough for this child to write and just say thank you, because this completely changed the way I think about things. And I'm like, that in itself is worth everything. Don't don't think about changing everybody. Just think about the one that you can change, and that ripple effect that that will create will be absolutely huge.
Yes.
Huge.
Yes. I love that.
So
Thank you for sharing that. That's a great story. I love that. And that's
it is
amazing.
amazing.
That's the change. And I have to remind myself of that often, especially jumping into the social media space and everything, and putting yourself out there constantly. I'm like, oh, heck, but I'm like, if this can affect one person positively,
One.
just one, that I'm in, and it can, it's so often
Yes.
like yesterday I posted this quote and I was like, I'm not sure if I was like, whatever, it's on. And then I had someone message me like, I've read this like 5 times. I screenshotted this, and I was like, okay, it was not, there's a reason why, but I get selfish.
Exactly.
I'm like, this is embarrassing, or I feel self-conscious. It's like,
Right.
no, like, think about
Yep.
that person on the other end who might receive that one, even if it's something that got 3 views. Maybe one of those people, like, they needed to see that so bad. I'm like, okay,
Right.
they saw it. Like,
Well, exactly. And imagine just even just the one, like I said, I just got one letter, and the one letter was so impactful. And just like you said with your post, it just impacting my goal is always one person. I just want one person. If because even Brendan talks about, if you can do this one time, whether it's selling something or impacting, if you can do one person, you can do it into masses.
yes,
It's just,
yes,
you're not most likely, unless you have a massive following, which I don't have.
yes.
Um, it's going to take time, but just these little reminders of the person messaging you, or like this little girl writing me, I'm like, this is exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so when I have those down days, because I have them, I literally had one the other day, and I say to my husband, like, what am I doing? And he's like, you're making a difference, babe. Just lay out today, and then tomorrow's going to be better. I'm like, okay.
That is so on par with so many entrepreneurs. There's that moment that I will literally say, what am I doing? What am I
Yeah.
doing? And sometimes I'm like, I don't know exactly, but I do know that it would cost me everything to stop doing it.
Yep.
And I won't do that. But sometimes I'm like, that uncomfortable feeling of like, why is what, and that's just like the voice of self-doubt and fear that comes in. And then you're sitting there like, I don't know what I'm doing. But then I just fast forward. I'm like, I fast
Right.
forward it, 10, 20, 30 years. Yeah. And what's the alternative? To just stop, to go get a normal job,
Right.
to live like everyone else?
And
Absolutely.
never know. And
Yeah.
never know.
And
Exactly.
never know. Exactly. I'm like, I will just slide by if that's all, like, for 20 years trying to figure this out until it clicks.
Exactly. I will die trying.
I will die trying because
Exactly.
I'm miserable not. I'm miserable
Exactly. Yes.
not.
Yep. And
So
that's the thing is, and they even say when we're going through these lulls, or when these are slow times, and I've seen it in my business. I mean, gosh, over what, okay, I'll be 41. So it's over 20 years, 23 years of being an entrepreneur. You have seasons, you have these just where you're like, really? But every single season has created a position and a point of something even greater the next time. And, and I have seen it every single time. And so now when I'm in a slow time, I go, okay, what am I supposed to be learning? What am I supposed to be doing? All right, if stuff was crazy busy right now, I wouldn't have been able to focus on this, this, and this. So, okay, thank you for this break. Thank you for this slow time. This has actually allowed me more time to get what I'm really needing to get done instead of not having the time. Because most of the time, when we are insanely busy and things are going insanely good, we're generally not in a creating or
True.
a
We're
learning
reacting.
mode.
We're just trying to keep up with everything.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we really have to go back to that gratitude and that thankfulness of I am thankful for the slow times despite it does XYZ. It strains a little bit more for income or whatever the case is, but there's always staying the course creates a greater purpose. And Mel Robbins, she even says in one of her reels she made, we're not like set up just to fail. Like we're not given these desires and
Yeah.
these dreams for us to just do nothing with them. Now, those dreams may not fully come to fruition. However, it's the direction that we take. I had no intention of making children's journals. Like if someone would have said that to me a year ago, I would have been like, that's kind of weird. Like, I'll be honest.
Yes.
But once I started learning about people and learning that adults don't even know who they truly authentically are, I'm like, if adults don't know this, then they never learn this as children.
Exactly. We're
And
not.
so,
Yeah.
exactly. And then that's where I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many journals out there for other children, and there's doctors writing them. I'm not a doctor. I mean, I could have come from this mindset of I I'm in lack of, my PhD, my MD, whatever. Like I don't have all these things. I'm just Rachel and I have two kids. But it wasn't that I was going to let use against me. What I was going to use was I have two kids, I have this knowledge, and this is what I'm going to build. It's not going to be for everyone, but for the people that do see this and understand and appreciate it, those are the people that it will impact and people will purchase.
Yeah.
And so that's what we have to keep our mind,
Yeah.
aligned with is what we're trying, who exactly are we trying to impact, and the smaller, fewer amount.
Yeah. I love that. And I think that is what keeps us in the game.
For
Right?
sure.
You are the little impacts, and that's what I have to focus on. But when I think about I'll blow things out of perspective, like, oh, it was not, it didn't, and that's what kills it. But it's like, yeah, but what about
Right.
the one or the two or even the many that it did help? But you're like, that's not big enough. And that takes you
Yes.
away from like enjoying the the wins along the way that are so
Right.
needed when you're when you're in this space.
Yep, for sure, for sure.
What age bracket is the journals? Because you said you have a 5 and a 13-year-old. Is that what you said? Oh, can you hear me?
Oh, that was so strange. It
That's okay.
muted for some reason. I
Oh,
can't
no,
hear you.
you can't hear
Is
me?
yours muted? Mm-mm.
Oh, um,
Sorry.
lost you for a second, but we're good.
Sorry.
I was saying, what age bracket are there? Because you have a 5-year-old and a 13-year-old, you said?
Yeah, so I made one that's pre-K, so four-ish, age 4 to it could probably be age 6 or 7. And then so that's like my pre-K through third grade edition. And then I have a youth, so then that's say 6, 7 to 12.
Okay.
And then I have a teen version. So that's essentially, I took the little kid one and I took the teen and I kind of created that intermingling. And so I could have, and then adult.
I
So I'm
love
like, I
that.
can hit the whole scope of
Yeah.
things.
Oh,
And
that's
yeah, it's been amazing. And it's good because my daughter loves writing in them, and my son's like, "Oh, this is easy." I'm like, 3 minutes, bud. That's all you need. Three
yeah,
minutes.
yeah. You'll get this done. You'll get this done quick.
Yep.
I do love what you said when that you could have come at it from a different angle. Like this has been done before, more qualified
Mhm.
people than me, and I think that's also important for people to hear because that's something that people will tell me. They're like, "Yeah, it's already been done," and yes, of course it has. Nothing new is
Mhm.
can be done under the sun like that. That's a verse like there, of course, but no one's done it your way.
Exactly.
No one's done it with your voice. And that's what makes it different. Because, like you said, I'm not for everyone. So, my podcast isn't for everyone. So, someone else can come into the space and it's going to resonate with different people. And remembering that, yes, but it hasn't been done your way. And that
Exactly.
keeps me in. I'm like, yep, no one's heard it from Izzy Chinche yet. So, we're doing it that way.
Yep, exactly. And that is the exact thing that either can make us or break us. And
Yes.
that is literally the defining moment where exactly what you said, this has been done, but this has not been done with my voice, my creativity, my mind, my anything. So either use that then to fuel, hey, even if I had, and that's the thing, what's so crazy is anything that we do, no matter what line of business it is, it just has to get in the hands of the right person. Right. So I would rather it end up in the hands of someone right than and go more for quality than billions in quantity and it just fall to the wayside. Like I want it to be impactful. And so again, that goes back to not trying to reach the masses, but really just changing that one person at a time. That's what makes that difference. That is obtainable. When we try to reach everyone and we broaden this whole scape, that's when you get into the defeat and you just feel like I can't ever. And it's like, well, no, of course you can't, and I even say Jesus doesn't even have everybody for him. So if
Yeah.
he doesn't have everybody for him, how are we going to have everybody for us? Not everybody, like you said, not everyone is going to be for us. And that's okay. They don't have to be. But that doesn't mean you can't start. And that doesn't mean you can't go where you want to go.
Yes.
So,
So, what would you say to someone right now who maybe they have something they want to start or they feel like they want to help, they want to share, but they have that fear, they are afraid that what people are going to say and think and how they're going to be viewed and of it failing, like what would your advice be to them?
a couple of things. My first thing that I would say is someone that is in the growth mindset or in the growth stage is not ever going to have an opinion of what you're doing other than a positive opinion and cheering you on. It is only the people that are not growing, that are confined to their own space through the broken lens. Those are the ones that are going to put you down. And those are the ones that are going to tell you it's never going to work. People that are growing, just like you and I would never be like, oh, look at her. She's growing. Like, boo. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
like, heck yeah, go on, girlfriend. Like, you got
Yeah.
this. Like,
Yeah.
we cheer each other on. That is the number one thing with who are you positioning yourself with? That is huge. And then the other piece is taking action. Action creates clarity. And I can tell you for me personally, I never used to be big on my social media. I would post my kids. That was essentially all I was doing. I was never really doing much of my business on social media. And so I had to make that shift. And it's definitely been a learning process. But one of the things that I have learned is just the mere fact of you have to take action to know whether it's good or isn't good for you. So for me, you see all these funny reels, and I'll be honest, like I crack up.
Yeah.
Like the voiceovers and all that stuff. I just think it's hilarious. And I was like, I'm going to do that because I think they're funny. So why not? And while I enjoyed making them and they were great and I posted them, doing the action for such amount of time, I realized even though they were funny, even though I enjoyed doing them, it wasn't exactly what I wanted to do. It wasn't my full purpose. It wasn't my full passion. It was not how I wanted people just to view me. Yes, they could be like, "Oh, she's funny," but they don't have to see that in a funny reel per se. But see, I never knew that until I took that action. And so
Yes.
really it's just stepping in and trying.
Yes. I love that. Yeah.
So,
It creates clarity.
yep, you got to do it in order to go, that didn't really serve me. Okay, moving on. And no one says like, Rachel, where are your funny reels? No, because I kept going with the consistency of everything else. And so that was kind of my learning piece. And then I've moved on and I've just continued on.
I love that. That's amazing. You're amazing. I'm so glad we got
You're amazing.
to this was
Thanks for having me.
yeah. What is your Instagram handle? So if people want to look you up and everything.
It's Rachel and then CLOSSON _ Rachel Clausen _.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm so grateful for your support. I'm already excited for the next show. Turn on notifications and be on the lookout for my next episode. Also, please share the show with anyone you feel like might benefit from listening to. Thank you for all your love and support. I will see you soon.